What's going on, Best Self Squad? Welcome back to episode 94 of the Best Self Blueprint. Today is a solo episode, but before we get into it, first things first, I want to thank you for tuning in. It means the world to me that people are finding value from these episodes, so I will do my best to continue that. But all I'm asking today, if you are not currently subscribed, hit that subscribe button. The goal is to grow the channel, grow the audience, so we can expand the impact. 2, if there's anything that you like or find value within this video, click that like button. 3, I will be asking, particularly in this one, for feedback throughout, so throw some comments in there. And then lastly, this episode in particular, I believe there are a lot of people who just need this message. So if you know somebody that you believe will benefit from hearing this, please share it with them. But without further ado, episode 94. All right, let's get into it, shall we? So episode 94, here we go. The reason I wanted to do this episode solo and the reason I wanted to release it now is because I feel I have fully gone through the mess and I have come out with a clear enough message to talk about it and just give my advice or like what has worked for me. And hopefully if you're in the same boat or you know someone who's in the same boat, you can apply and see if this works for you as well. Going back to just over a year ago, I ran a 100-mile ultramarathon. You've probably heard me talk about it if you are a regular listener. I probably talk about it more often than I should, but it's important to this story because it's the genesis of this experience. I ran the 100-mile ultramarathon, and this was something that was on my list of challenges for years. It was something that scared the crap out of me. It was something that really pushed me to my physical, mental, emotional limit. It was one of the most rewarding and fulfilling experiences and accomplishments I've ever checked off my life resume. However, following that seemed to be the start of this journey of almost a disembodied feeling. And I don't know if I'm using that word right, but I'll explain. Over the past year-ish, I've had successes, I've had failures, I've had ups, I've had downs, I've had some amazing experiences, I've had some very tough battles. But through all of it, I seemed a bit emotionally detached. I've recently found out through, again, a year of compiled mentorship, coaching, studying, thinking through things, journaling about it, meditating on it, all of the stuff. I'm realizing that what I needed was shedding. At least that's what I'm calling it in today's episode. And so that's what I'm going to talk about is the experience of what I felt like throughout the past year, why I kind of woke up to the fact that I needed to shed, what shedding actually is, and how I went through that process and just what it feels like on the other side. So I'm going to start by defining shedding. And I'm going to do it with an Alan Watts quote. So Alan Watts has a quote that says, "You are under no obligation to be the same person you were 5 minutes ago." The reason this rings true, and I'm going to tie it into shedding, is because I was checking the boxes. I was doing the right things. I was implementing the right practices. There were times where I fell off. There were times where I got into ruts, obviously. But for the most part, I was following the path that I believed to be the right path. And there were a lot of great things that have happened in the past year. Opened up the studio, very grateful for that. Got to travel all over the country working with a sales team for 9 months, very grateful for that. just got back from a trip to Louisiana where I got to see my family, play with my godson, have quality time with my brother, my mom, whole bunch of family members. So like I said, a lot of things to be grateful for, a lot of successes, a lot of fulfillment. But there was a certain level of emotional detachment. And I think that lied in the fact that a mix of spiritually and just in the human experience, I was neglecting the fact that it was time for me to shed certain pieces of myself that were holding me back from progressing to the next evolution of what this life can be for me. There were things that I have shed, habits, behaviors, beliefs over the past year. However, I don't think I fully bought into this idea of I'm under no obligation to be who I was 5 minutes ago, and to what degree that is actually true. Over the past, we'll call it month or so, I have completely scrapped my preconceived notions about what I should be doing for the studio, what I should be doing for a fitness routine, what I should be doing, just weekly schedule, all of the stuff. Just what are the shoulds? And who is the version of me that is showing up on a daily basis, moment-to-moment basis, in terms of effort, attitude, energy, all of these things. And so particularly after the audit workshop, because every workshop that I do for frameworks, I walk through the framework myself. And the audit framework in particular really jarred loose a whole bunch of these things, a whole bunch of these realizations. I'll try to be more specific than just things. A whole bunch of realizations about ways in which I have been putting a glass ceiling over my head. And so even though I'm doing the right things, I'm implementing the right strategies, there were just certain blockages that I was putting on myself that were holding me back from the evolution I'd been fighting so hard for the past year. So after the audit workshop, I had these revelations. I was coming to the ideas and acknowledgments that there were certain pieces that I thought were just cemented into the pursuit that I was ensuing. And realizing that it was not cement by any means. At best, it was the Elmer's stick glue, and it was very easy to peel these things away. And so I really broke down every component of my life. So particularly I was looking at financial abundance. What does that look like? So if I were to say I am experiencing and continuing to grow financial abundance without any of the current constraints I have on my reality, what does that look like? Optimal health and wellness without any of the current constraints I have about when I should be working out, how I should be working out, without my past and the anchor that is the beliefs I hold true. What is optimal health and wellness? Spirituality, relationships, hobbies, growth, contribution, a sense of purpose, all of these things, the things that make up the life success wheel, the things that make up Tony Robbins' 6 fundamental human needs, I scrapped everything and I went back down to what is my personal definition of success? What are my beliefs right now that are supporting that versus getting in the way of that? What are my thoughts, words, actions that are moving me in alignment or taking me out of alignment of that? And so just really getting very hyper aware of all of the things that I truly want within myself, to experience in my life, to go after in the future, to set myself up with in the future. Just getting very aware of all of these things. And in doing that, I realized that there are very deeply ingrained pieces of ego that have been holding on because it provides a sense of comfort, it provides a sense of knowing, And it is a scary freaking thing to quite literally, kill off aspects of yourself, pieces of yourself, completely tear them out of you so that you can become the next version of who you need to be in your pursuit and in your human experience. And so over the past month, that is what I've been doing. Anytime one of these things popped up, I made a point to jot it down in my phone notes, make sure to journal about it, and really become attuned to the Trevor ego, if you will, like the versions of Trevor that exist in terms of beliefs, in terms of actions, in terms of all these things. And there were so many seemingly insignificant details that when observed and when analyzed became apparent to me that were very significant blockades, very significant anchors that were preventing me from breaking through to the next level. The reason I wanted to talk about this today is because over the last month, after removing, or at least going through the process of shedding the old skin, shedding the old aspects of Trevor that have prevented me from evolving, I feel lighter, I feel happier, I feel more grounded, I feel more purposeful, I feel healthier, I am healthier, I'm more fit. I feel closer to God than ever. I feel closer to the friends that I want to feel close to than ever. I just feel good, man. And I want everyone to experience this. And I believe that this process of shedding and going to battle against the versions and pieces of you that you know are holding you back. Maybe you aren't consciously aware, but you are definitely aware on some subconscious or unconscious level that these versions of you are not serving you. They're not worth holding on to. And so I want to bring up one more quote. It's by Melanie Mackey. And it's, decide what kind of life you actually want, and then say no to everything that isn't that. And so that is exactly what I did. I went through every day of my schedule. I went through every aspect of the life success wheel. I went through, again, after studying all of my, well, not all of them, but a lot of my recurring beliefs, a lot of my recurring habits, a lot of my recurring, all of it. I went through everything, full audit. And in going through those things and in analyzing how much or if any utility they hold, it began the process of me being able to realize what needed to be shed. Again, the reason I'm bringing this up is because I want this to be a call to action. If you know that you are not at least moving towards alignment of the best version of yourself, of your highest potential, if you know that there is a life out there for you that you can visualize and viscerally you can feel that that is the human experience that you want, but you're not getting it, or you're not even allowing yourself to go after it, think about what pieces of you or what pieces of your life need to be shed. And understand that it is not an easy process. When I tell you, the ego doesn't like being messed with at all. Again, it is the thing that makes you feel comfortable. It is the self-identity that is the thermostat for you in your life. And when you start toggling with that thermostat, you will get existentially uncomfortable. I definitely did. When I started challenging these things in my life, when I started challenging all of it and started making changes, it was very uncomfortable. And the knee-jerk reaction is to go back to the known quantity, to go back to the known habit, to start giving energy back to the known belief that makes you feel all good and comfy. And it may not even make you feel good, but because it's known and because it's safe, it's what your ego wants. It's what your ego will fight for. But it's so worth it to go through the discomfort of the process. It is so worth it to shed the things that are holding you back. And so I hope that this message resonates. I hope that this message lands. And not just in a motivational way either. I mean, I hope if you need the motivation, I hope that it motivates you to go after doing this for yourself. Because let me tell you, and I am so passionate about this, you deserve everything you want. You deserve the life that you want. You deserve the self that you want. You deserve to feel good about yourself when you're by yourself. You deserve to feel confident. You deserve to feel worthy. You deserve to feel aligned. But whether or not you deserve it, you won't get it unless you put in the work. Unless you do the things that need to be done. You make the shifts. You shed the things that need to be shed in order for you to experience this. And I think for me, it just took getting to a level of being so sick of knowing for sure, 100% confident that life is attainable, that life is right around the corner. And yes, there are plenty of things that I still want to go after. I know my potential has not even come close to being reached. But I am aligned. I am doing the things. I'm moving in the direction at a rate that I don't believe I've ever moved in the direction of the life that I want, the version of myself that I feel amazing about, the relationships that light me up, the environments that stimulate the experience I want to have throughout the day, throughout the week. I'm taking bold actions. I'm building solid foundations. I'm building beautiful connections with amazing, inspiring people. And that is not a brag by any means, because I just told you I was so far on the opposite side of that spectrum for the last year. And I think it did. It took me putting in my mouth guard and falling on my face over and over and over and learning the lessons and trying to study what I believed were the right things and talking to a lot of very knowledgeable people, very wise people. And my belief is in divine timing. I believe that I needed, as a coach and just for myself, to go through this past year, to go through the feeling of, I imagine it's similar to feeling like you're in a box that's not quite tall enough for you to fully stand up and stretch out, but yet like it won't allow you to sit down. Like you're just in this uncomfortable position. That's kind of what I picture, is this uncomfortable feeling. And for me, it just got more and more and more intense to the point where it just became a non-negotiable. I had to make a move. And in making the move, God put me in the perfect amount of discomfort for me to make the changes I needed to make, to evolve in a way that brought me to the next level of this experience, to introduce myself to the next version of myself that I am so happy with and so amazed by. And I know you, whoever it is listening, I know that is right on the other side of this process for you. And that process may be different from me. I mean, I hope that it doesn't take you a year. What I hope is that, again, for me, I hit that point of fuck it about a month ago. And so the last month, I have been sharpening the axe. I have been setting the blueprint, making the plan so that I could jump into the new environment and hit the ground running. And boy, am I freaking running. And so I hope for you, whether that process looks the same, I can't claim to know enough about what I'll call the shedding process yet to tell you this is exactly how you should do it. But step one is awareness. You have to get aware about what it is that you actually want and what it is that you need to say no to that isn't actually what you want. You need to become aware of the understanding that you are under no obligation to be the same person you were 5 minutes ago. You can drop that version of you It's that simple, but it is by no means that easy. It's not an easy thing to do. But okay, I'm getting off track. It may look different than how it looked for me, but I guarantee the outcome will feel just as good as it felt for me. You will feel so light. You will feel so aligned. You will feel so abundant, so grateful. And I really think that everyone has this next version of themselves that's waiting for the old version, those pieces of you that no longer serve you, to pass the baton to that higher self, that next version, so that we'll call them they, so that they can carry you through the next progression, the next evolution of your human experience. That's what it feels like to me. And in looking back, I realize that is the truth for me, is that each time I've leveled up in a big way, it feels like, for those of you that meditate, you'll understand this. There's the behind the curtain observer that is you, and then there's the active participant that is you. The underlying observer is the through line, but the active participant is the one that needs shedding. And in shedding, there's that new version that will take the baton and move you through until the process of shedding needs to happen again. And it's just true. When I look back, there have been so many processes of shedding. And I wonder, and this is where in the intro I talked about throwing in the comment section, for you, when you look back, have you noticed that each time it could be any big life event? It could be the death of a loved one. It could be a breakup. It could be a monumental achievement. It could be moving to a different state. It could be any big, impactful, like viscerally impactful experience. Have you found that there's almost an updated software or an updated version of you that seems to take the baton and move you through the next progression, the next chapter? I'm curious. So if you're willing, throw that in the comments. But yeah, it's a call to action. Yes, I hope this motivates you, but I hope it doesn't just motivate you, because motivation is gasoline on a fire. It's a quick burn and it'll get you started. But sharpen the axe, get that awareness, make a plan, and then find a way to hold yourself accountable, or to find someone who will hold you accountable to that plan. And understand, if there's anything you get from this entire thing, so hopefully you made it to this point, understand that you deserve it. And take some time with yourself to really question, do you believe that you deserve the next evolution? Do you feel worthy of the things that you desire in your life? Because if you don't feel deserving, if you don't feel worthy, that needs to be added to the shedding process. Finding the path to feeling connected and feeling in love with yourself again. And I'm not saying that you have to feel that fully while you go through the first steps of this shedding process, but it needs to be part of it. And again, I don't believe you need to feel that to experience external success. There are plenty of examples of people who become multi-millionaires, or become Olympic athletes, or win gold at the Olympics. There are people who reach extraordinary levels of external success who don't feel good about themselves and don't feel aligned with themselves. Yes, they're getting the praise and the accolades and the rewards and the trophies and the status and all of these things. But Tom Bilyeu says this so perfectly. How do you feel about yourself when you're by yourself? So the part of the reason I feel so light, and part of the reason I feel so grateful, truly feel it, is because I've been developing and strengthening that unconditional love for myself. And not in a narcissistic way either. It's this feeling of trust within myself, feeling of trust from that underlying observer to the active participant. I trust that the active participant will now do the things that will allow for the human experience that the underlying observer has been hoping for so long. So go through the process of reconnecting with yourself. Go through the process of building trust with yourself. Build awareness around the things that are holding you back. Build awareness around the life that you actually want. And no excuses. Go for it. Go all in. So for me, I'll kind of explain where I'm at right now. So for me, I'm working out 6 days a week, sometimes twice a day, not super intense most of the time. I'm having fun in the gym. My skeletal muscle is higher than it's been in years. My body fat percentage is lower than it's been in years. I love my workouts. I feel good about what I'm doing. In terms of my relationships, I feel fantastic about the people that I am giving my time and energy to. I feel great about the closeness of the connection I have with them. I start my day every day by connecting with God. And again, if you don't believe in that, you believe what you believe. I believe in God. First things first, I connect with God. I feel closer to God than I have probably ever. Do the dang things that will create the life you actually want. Don't do the dang things that will get in the way. And it's laughably simple, but in a world of so much distraction, obligation, responsibility, constant stimulus, it is so easy to be pulled off this path. And it takes intentionality, but it is so freaking worth it. So I hope that you take this and run with it. And again, if you're in a good place, maybe analyze what is it that you're doing right? What is it that feels so good and feels so aligned, so that inevitably when a winter comes, when something trips you up, you understand what the things are that feel aligned, and you can become aware of the things that tripped you up in the moment so that it doesn't fully take you out. And that's about it. So, yeah, that's about it. Thank you so much. Please stick around if you are interested at all in Best Self happenings. This weekend, we have the Endure 24 charity event, June 1st and June 2nd. That'll be for the Jackson Sparks Foundation, hosted at Rising Fitness in Waukesha, sponsored by good old Best Self. So sign up for that. If you can't make it, please consider donating. If you are able to make it, there will be a sign up link or a Facebook page link in the description below. The next Frameworks workshop, that'll be on June 29th from 10:30 a.m. to noon. This one is amazing. It's called the Viewmaster. This one, especially with what I just talked about, will be one you do not want to miss. So check that out. We have a book club starting up next week. So every month, the first Monday, we'll be doing a book club. This first meeting will be just deciding what book we kick it off with. Every Wednesday, we have a sports club, so different outdoor activities, get out, get active, hang out with other people who like to get out and get active. All the stuff, I'll just throw it all in the description. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope if you are in a position where this rings true, you do something about it. If you know someone who this rings true for, I hope you share this with them and then they do something about it. And I am doing free consultations, so if this is something you want to sit down and chat about, I will run you through the health optimization consult. Part of that is mental health, emotional health, social health, environmental health, all the dang things. So if you want a resource, I can be one. But I will leave it at that. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will catch you next time. Peace!